please look for somewhere else to go.
Okay, and talking of divisive politics, let's get this soundbite from the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua. And this is on a possible detente between him and former President Uhuru Kenyatta. He spoke in Nyeri County, in Karatina, after finishing, or after a church service he held in Kutus, Kirinyaga County. Then thereafter he proceeded to Nyeri, and in Karatina, where he said that he was being fought for warming up to the former President Uhuru Kenyatta. Here's what he said.
Hii vita yote munaona ati nikiambiwa ninaongoza ukabila ni kwa sababu ya kusema hata Uhuru Kenyatta ni mtoto wetu. Nimefanya makosa? Na makosa Uhuru alikuwa amefanya tu ni moja. Barabara alijenga, maji alifanya, alileta stima, alikuwa amefanya tu makosa moja ya kutuletea Raila, si ndio? Lakini siku rais amesema, sisi tukakataa Raila, tukaenda kwa William Ruto. Saa ile rais wetu William Ruto amesema Raila ni mtu mzuri. Kutakuwa na haja gani sisi kuchukia Uhuru Kenyatta? Iko haja? Iko haja? Watu wangapi wanasema ni ungana na Uhuru Kenyatta, tuunganisha watu wetu?
Ambrose, according to the president, this is tribal politics, and he said that there's no point of embarking on that route, but the deputy president seems to be a man on the offensive regarding former President Uhuru Kenyatta. Frustrations is expressed in government, largely from the president's personal assistants and bloggers of the president, who said wants to micromanage his affairs as the deputy president. It seems that the Constitution 2010 has birthed rebellious deputy presidents, starting off with the current president.
Ayub, no. The office of the deputy president, historically and by pattern, is an office that the occupier has to be subjected, either by design or whatever, to storms. The only person who escaped it was Uncle Moody. Okay? The first vice president, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, found it so hot that he just wrote a letter to Kenyatta and said, I quit. The second one, Murumbi, stayed there kidogo, Masai. Kidogo, I quit. Then Moi came in, faced all manner of things. He said, let me, as a Christian, go to church. He stayed there until Mzee rested. He took power. Thereafter, Kibaki came. Okay? One day, he faced all of it from people like Waruru Kanya, God rest their soul, eternal peace. Went. Then Karanja came. He was bundled out of office. You can go on and on and on. So that office is not unique to my our elder brother and my deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua. And then what I would say to our leader, Rigathi Gachagua, he needs to do two things. One, to study his boss. Study Moi, study Kibaki, and study his boss. Those are the people, they were vice presidents, but somehow they were able to move. Number two, deep statehood is not an elective position. It's something you study and you get your place. And there around the president, people struggle to be deep statehood. And they can kick you out. They can create storms and kick you out. So the deputy president, they know, I think somehow they know his characteristics. So they provoke him. They provoked him. That things when you provoke in him, then he can now burst. And then they go this side and say, the president has said ataki maneno, na president pia anataka nini. So it is him as our leader to claim his position around the president. It's him to kick people out and be deep state. Not to go home and complain to those people. There's nothing wrong with having good relationships with the former president Uhuru Kenyatta Wangina. That he is now his deputy president. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with the president cooling off Baba.
Okay.
You know, now we are doing finance bill quietly and nicely, and there's nice things, and you can see Brother Mwenja is here talking nice. We could now be saying reject Occupy Parliament, and there will be nobody going to work. So a good president, knowing that we had the Eurobond to pay, we are just emerging out of COVID, we now have, we had floods that disrupted everything. One of the people you deal with to have a cool sell-off is you be at peace with Baba. So an idea was mooted and said, Baba, go to AU. And that is called political gerrymandering.
Okay.
You gerrymander for the country to run. You can't fault the president, you can't fault the deputies. But I'll urge Honorable Rigathi, study your boss. Go near and occupy your place of deep statehood. So that those who he says are scaring him, he should scare them. He is the one who should scare them. When they go and report, he says, yeah, I heard you told the president, now stop it. He is the one to do it.
Janet, could there be more problem than meets the public eye?
No, and I think a very good background has been given by him, that all this is PR and meant to probably try and massage a particular constituency. And I would just tell the Deputy President that the people you're talking to, the people of Mount Kenya, have been most hurt by the policies of the government that you run. They have been most hurt, and they are threatened to even be hurt the more by 2024 finance bill. And if really you were a genuine person, because I do not think that people that make about turns that fast, that quickly, without even bothering to explain to the people that this is why I have changed my mind, a certain set of facts has been presented to me that is different from what had been presented to me earlier, and therefore I changed my mind. This, if we were seeing a genuine person, he would be telling Kenyans today that really, I have listened to you, the people of Mount Kenya. You have told me in no uncertain terms, as your leader, that this, the previous finance bill hurt you, the 2024 will hurt you the more. I have listened to you as your father, and this is what I am going to do. Remember, he has not been committal about it, and that is why I am thinking this background that has been provided, that these many tours are supposed to probably quell the temperatures that were there in Mount Kenya, and there is nothing to do about it. But I think all this said and done, we are seeing a particular trend that is a bit disturbing.
Okay.
That the people that we have entrusted this country with, instead of talking about issues, development, and so on and so forth, it has been politics since the first day. And we would challenge the Deputy President, really, what's your work? What's your job description when you wake up every morning? Because the people of Mount Kenya outgrew the Uhuru issues. I mean, you know, I am not even sure that anybody, that kind of conversation delivers bread on anybody's table. What is your role in making sure that the people of Mount Kenya are feeling safer, you know, their businesses are more secure, and not only Mount Kenya. I had him being challenged that stop being a cocoon person. And you know, this why people are calling him a tribal leader is that he's not taking that message to other parts of the country. How is the disunity? I don't know how he has diagnosed the disunity in Mount Kenya. How is that affecting how the government is supposed to be run? Sort of asking for more accountability from the Deputy President, and to just tell them that we're used to you guys, you know, one statement, then tomorrow you come up with another, and you don't care to tell us why you have changed your heart. And Kenyans know a lying tongue when they see one.
Okay, Honorable Mark Mwenja, given what the Deputy President has said and regarding unity, isn't it then a dichotomy, given that from the onset when they assumed power, he was the messenger of the shareholding aspect, that there are some Kenyans, one, who will enjoy preference over the others in terms of government services because they voted for the current government in place, and that is opposite to his oath of office because he serves all Kenyans and holds an office that's supposed to be a symbol of national unity. And also him advancing the aspect of keeping a guard around State House to ensure that he checks off and check marks who visits State House, and that was in effect to the opposition leaders, and to be specific, Raila Odinga. I mean, what's this all about?
Let me tell you, right from the get-go, if you follow what happened before the elections, the Kenya Kwanza, then member of Parliament, especially from Mount Kenya region, sat to decide who was going to be the candidate for deputy president. Names were floated here and there. And if you go by the stories that exist, which are more or less true, that the preferred candidate was somebody else. But it was settled. There were arguments that were pushed for the current deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, to be the running mate of the president. So you must understand right from the get-go that you are not the first choice. So it was a decision where some people had to sit and argue that even the popular person who was chosen to be, they had to put him aside and say, no, we don't believe that you'll be the one to bring the votes from Mount Kenya or to represent Mount Kenya as expected. So that's the first thing. Now, after you've had an election, one of the things that I believe the deputy president made a huge mistake. He expected he'd be in a co-presidency in the manner that existed between Uhuru and William Ruto. But you have to look at 2013, when those two came together. They came together, everyone had their own base, everyone had their own background. This was not the case in 2022. So the deputy president did not bring a region. Already this region had several members who were angling for the same seat. So they all came down and said, fine, this will be our leader. This is the one we presented. But they were all bringing something to the table. Now, from there comes these problems. Because once you become deputy president and you had a different expectation to what is happening, then you will see what is happening at the moment. Right now, for me, I can say the government, unfortunately, due to various policies they have made, in the Mount Kenya region, the government has become quite unpopular. Okay. There are so many taxes that have been imposed. There are so many complaints that exist, so many promises, so many projects that were supposed to be completed. I can give you, for instance, the Mau Mau roads and some of the dams that were being done in Central. All those projects have stalled. So there's been a complaint that has been building gradually. So based with the politics that existed before, whenever President Uhuru wanted to address an issue in Rift Valley, there was only one voice. That is not the case in Mount Kenya. There are several voices that are speaking. So the deputy president will get agitated. That how is it that I'm the number 2 in command, but you have individuals here who seem to have more authority, more power, more deep state, to use the term that Advocate Ambrose used.
Yeah, and it's that in this regard then, it's still on you. Let me get to this second soundbite on the government destabilization, because in light of course, Mount Kenya is part of Kenya, and there are Kenyans who, the same as others, are feeling the brunt of the punitive taxes. And this is what Gachagua said on as regards warning that, look, if you guys proceed, then this may end up not affecting me individually, but the government. Let's hear what he said.
Let me tell these people, please, don't destabilize our government. You may think you are destabilizing Rigathi Gachagua, but you are not. You are destabilizing the government of President William Ruto. Tulishinda kura na 200,000 only. Musikuwe na kiburi. Don't forget the journey imetufikisha hapa.
Is that message a coded way of saying that
you can walk away, you can get and plan yourself? One of the things that you pointed out earlier is this issue of shareholders. You know, they believed their shareholders. Now you're getting to and unfortunately the president referred to that in a demeaning way. I think he said it was a primitive way of thinking.
And he said it in Kiswahili.
But more importantly, him as the deputy president, something that I think we should learn now in matters of coalitions is that you cannot get into a coalition if you don't have your own backing, the way William Ruto showed us in 2013. So I believe that is the path that now the deputy president is trying to talk, trying to solidify a base, and trying to show that he can also now walk out of this coalition if certain conditions are not met. And more importantly, we can remember that the issue of Raila in Mount Kenya, you know, we've used this tag of Raila, and unfortunately in the last election, it was used in Mount Kenya to show that this is a bad person and all that. You can see the deputy president now coming out and saying that the only problem was that that William Ruto Uhuru brought Raila. Yeah, but now William Ruto is supporting Raila on this issue. And I can say without a doubt, for those of us in Azimio,
yes,
those of us with Mount Kenya, that this hatred that was built against Raila, it is now coming out clearly. That this is a statesman who, unfortunately, we just created a tribal war, a tribal issue against the person of Raila Odinga.
Thank you.
But more importantly, for me, I can tell him that the deputy president, those issues that he thought he'll put guards around State House, he'll be the owner of the shareholders, and to make sure certain things happened. He went into this coalition without a party of his own, without his own constituency.
Thank you.
That he is trying now to reclaim. And I believe if he reclaims it and things continue the way it is, then unfortunately things will be more difficult for Kenya.
Thank you. I'll come to you, Janet and Ambrose, for your final words after sampling the feedback, because we had engaged Kenyans. And this is what you are saying on the hashtag Daybreak. The SMS code is 22422 at Citizen TV Kenya and at Ayub Abdikadir. The first one is from Dr. Michael Mbito. Relevant players says should ensure that in as much as we must raise revenue for the progress of our nation, the exchequer must and should be cushioned against any power or force that might weigh him or her down. Without their efforts, we are flat. Frank Orinde says Kenya Kwanza government are getting it wrong. They should concentrate on growing the economy by making the environment conducive to do business, which will translate into more job opportunities and hence increased tax base. Driving investors away by unpredictable taxes is a catastrophe. Bob Otieno Widow says government has put all its eyes in the finance bill to get the money via taxation to help service its public debt to avoid being a banana republic or going like the Ghana way. Gode Barasawere says our Kenyan politics has hit a stage of play, the theater of the absurd. So much incoherence, confusion, and misplaced priorities in the wake of a tough finance bill, which threatens to put a chokehold on the overburdened citizens. Babu Michelle K says from the time Finance Bill 2024 was introduced and its contents made public to Kenyans, Kenyans have unanimously opposed it in totality. It's no secret. Passing it in Parliament will be doing injustice to Kenyans. Kenyans are clear this time round. Sam Masika says our governance structure is the weakest link in the representation of the people. If they have to visit State House for bills to pass, then that's capture and puppeteering. Do they represent constituencies or the people in the executive? Otambo Kenneth says it's so insensitive for the government to even consider imposing that eco levy on sanitary products in a country where nearly over 65% of girls and women face period poverty on a daily basis, while the pads and tampon prices are already high. Sanixon Degure says a state-captured parliament full of sycophants is a danger to the nation. And Dombori says the Fourth Estate must lead the debate on the Finance Bill 2024-5, ensuring transparency and accountability by analysing and sharing its implications. The media empowers citizens, holds MPs accountable and advocates for equitable growth and sustainable development. Remy Butia says Section 51(2) of the Finance Bill seeks to amend the Data Protection Act by including an exemption from data protection principles in relation to personal information. This will give immense powers to the Commissioner. Okello Mwalimu says, I call upon all well-meaning MPs to attend parliamentary sessions today, sieve through the Finance Committee report and shoot down punitive proposals. They shouldn't be swayed by media reports that the committee has removed the punitive tax measures. We want to fill them in the chambers. Baba Michelle K says in this Finance Bill 2024, something very important happened. Members of the public, which I'm sure mostly the youths, took their time to directly send messages to their lawmakers. This must be a wake-up call to all legislators. Things are bad. Yes, Janet, briefly.
Three things. One is that the Kenya Kwanza administration has been advised, beyond doubt, that businesses thrive on stability. You cannot have the fluctuating tax policy and expect to grow anything. Businesses will not thrive, and therefore, you're not going to be supporting job creation and so on and so forth. And number two, I want to give a challenge to the Deputy President that this finance bill will be his litmus test. if he really thinks that he has got control over Mount Kenya and Mount Kenya MPs, let him whip his troops to do the will of the people. This is a deciding moment even for him. And finally, to the citizens of this country, I want to thank them so much for the contributions that we have seen and for how citizens have come out to speak and to speak to the members of parliament. I want to say that today is a defining moment for us. We have not been led by any politicians. This is a citizen-led initiative. Please come out in large numbers and let us come and express ourselves. And to the members of parliament, voting yes and not appearing, because we saw in the last time, there are those who do not want to pronounce themselves for the fear of backlash from their voters. And so they decided to absent themselves. So we're saying a yes and a no-show means the same. And the only verdict Kenyans are expecting on the finance bill is a no. We can do this because we have seen a change of tone from the past, and we are making very good progress. Congratulations, Kenyans, we are almost making it.
Thank you. Yes, Ambrose.
Thank you. Fellow Kenyans, I have to tell you that shooting down the finance bill would be very disastrous to this country, and you will be hurt more because there are things which have to be done. The Member of Parliament talked about Greece. When the economy goes down, it's the very Wanjiku that suffers most. We want our members of parliament to look through the bill, debate it robustly, knowing the bills that have to be paid, the services that have to be rendered, and the growth we project to achieve. I know that it is the middle class like me who have access to the BDR to influence people, and they don't want to pay tax. I don't want to pay. Nobody wants to pay tax, even during the days of Jesus. They don't even want to pay tithe in churches, these same people. As a pastor, an Anglican pastor, I tell you, they don't want to pay tax. You bring tithe, they say, oh, the tithe, Jesus was our tithe. You bring so taxes are a contentious issue. And therefore, let us look at it a bit soberly. I'm happy that the president has chosen growth over populism. He could have chosen to be a nice, popular president. But he said, even if I do 5 years and I lose for making these decisions, fine. That is what we need at this critical time. Kenya is a beautiful country. We are growing. And I know when you talk about it, middle class like Weda, under you, they feel tax, motor vehicle tax. No. But this is a price we have to pay. Wastage has to be eliminated. Corruption has to be dealt with. But otherwise, we have to grow this our country.
Thank you.
And you can only grow it through the payment of tax. That is sad, but we have to do it.
Yes.
Dedan Kimathi paid with his life. We have just to pay money and grow.
And Kenyans are paying their fair share of taxes.
Correct.
I think what I want to add is Article 33 provides for freedom of expression. Kenyans have expressed themselves on this issue. Article 32 talks of freedom of conscience and religion, of opinion and belief, and even thoughts. That is the one thing I want to encourage our members of parliament from the other side. I want to appeal to our deputy president that there is freedom of conscience as expressed in our constitution, that Kenyans are expressing. Let us see that people can come together. We can have a bipartisan argument that those issues that are oppressing Kenyans in this finance bill, we can stop them. We don't have a problem. Just to say what Ambrose is saying, we know our country, Kenyans are paying taxes. What I have a problem with is an unconscionable tax, a tax that does not sit well with our conscience. That is what we should stop. That is what Kenyans should are arguing against, and that is what they expect us as members of parliament. Today I'm dressed also in black,
yes,
in unity,
in solidarity,
as
you can see,
with this team. So when they see me out there in the street, they should know I'm one of them as well.
Salary cut for MPs, million shilling. Give Kenyans half of it, because a lot of this tax will go to pay you.
Thank you. Much appreciated, ladies and gentlemen. Ambrose Weda, advocate, Wakili, thanks for your time. Mark Mwenje, MP, Embakasi West constituency, your time is appreciated. Janet Ouko, Director, Tunza Mtoto Coalition, and one of the conveners of today's Occupy Parliament protest happening any minute from now, with all eyes now on Parliament as the Finance and National Planning Committee is set to table its report today. We do understand at the moment that there's an ongoing parliamentary group meeting of the Kenya Kwanza Coalition at State House in Nairobi that's chaired by President William Ruto. Later in the evening, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition will have theirs as well. But can that lift off the heavy baggage on the backs of members of the bicameral parliament? who have in many occasions who have been less than impressive when it comes to public affairs, including the Finance Bill 2024, as attention now shifts to Parliament Road starting today on what will be a busy week in the parliamentary calendar. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow morning here on the broadcast. Till then, good morning.